Welcome to the Journey of Growth podcast episode 43. I am ThE, the host of this event, which is created so myself and others can share perspective on the concept of it in hopes that one another's insights will be relatable, establishes awareness, and inspires listeners to adopt and maintain such behavior. The definition of growth is the process of developing new skills, attitudes, actions, or reactions that can have a beneficial impact on your life and increases your overall well-being. If you would like to be a guest on the show, you're invited to do so, which can result in the enhancement of your identity as well as growing in a multitude of different ways by having a willingness to venture into an unknown experience. You can contact me through Instagram at ThE Raps or on Facebook at ThE Smith. Today's featured guest is a friend of mine, and his name is Radu Pasan. Hello, Radu. How are you?
Hello, ThE. Pretty good. Thank you for the invitation. Excited to be here. Talk about authentic, lasting growth.
Yes, I hope to learn from your perspective, and hopefully the viewers will also be able to learn and from what you have to say, and it will be relatable to them. And so we're going to get started with the podcast by I'm going to ask you first question. The first question is, what can you tell me about yourself?
My name is Radu. I am from Bucharest, Romania. I'm a clinical psychologist, studying right now to become a psychotherapist, so a psychotherapist in training. I'm passionate about history, culture. I have some projects on Instagram, some websites about World War II, about Bucharest, but obviously my main goal and activities of being a clinical psychologist. Another particular thing I could say about me is that once or twice every year I like to take my backpack and go somewhere around the world, stay in hostels, meet people, experience new cultures. So that's also something I would be excited to talk about today. And I think that's what I could say about me.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you discovered a field of interest regarding the psychological industry or sector in the medical field, and I'm glad you also had opportunities to travel to a variety of different places in the world. And so my next question is, what is your perspective on growth?
Okay, so I actually have a pretty strong opinion about this. Uh, Listen, growth lies somewhere at the intersection between meaning and action. So I believe these are two key components of growth, meaning and action, and they have to go together. For example, meaning without action, like we might read some motivational quotes or do therapy or look inside ourselves, which is great, but without applying what we learn, it's pretty much useless. In the same direction, action without meaning doesn't help you grow much. For example, you might grind out a 9 to 5 which you hate. That doesn't really help you grow, it's more about surviving. But when meaning and action meet, I believe we can be unstoppable. And I think it's important to note that action has to come before meaning, because you find meaning through action. You're doing this, doing that, experiencing things. So first action, then meaning, and when you combine both, that's when real, authentic, and lasting growth and change happens.
And I can relate to your expression. I'm an advocate of taking the initiative in my life to grow myself. Whether someone is telling me to do so or not, it seems like it is a intuitive sensation for me to take the initiative to be productive in my life. So that what you had said to me is a resource for sure. And my next question is, how are you currently growing?
I'm at a point where I think I found meaning and action, so I'm combining the two and doing action, trying things, doing things. And I'm just trying to keep doing that, trying everything I can, new things, focusing on the things which have meaning for me, like psychology, for example. But I also think I kind of need to look into myself right now, which is what I'm doing in therapy. Uh, find out who I really am, if that makes sense. Because I have the action, I have the meaning, but I'm still like not sure who I am exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like I'm kind of, which we all do, evaluating myself through other people's eyes,
Mm.
and trying my best to make it so that I evaluate myself through my own eyes and perspective. So this is what I'm focused on right now. But the
Mm-hmm.
main, of course, keeping action growing, doing things. This is very important for me. Do things. I mean, without
Okay.
action, everything is pretty much useless.
Mm.
How?
Um, what I want to ask you is, you said, I'm paraphrasing, but action and meaning go hand in hand. Um, I think when it comes to action, I have awareness of it, but I think probably at this point, in my growth, when it comes to meaning, I may be more challenged to identify meaning. So, from your perspective, how would you describe meaning?
Well, something which matters to you, which has importance, which gives you a purpose. Not just doing it for surviving or for a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, in my case, maybe this makes it easier to understand. I found meaning through psychology in the way that it allows me to help other people. And this is very
Mm-hmm.
meaningful for me. It's more meaningful than alcohol, for example, which I used to struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Finding meaning is actually very helpful in addictions as well, because it's
Mm-hmm.
important when you wake up in the morning, you have something to look forward to, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
staying I can't wait to drink. You're thinking, I can't wait to do these things which matter a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
purpose, meaning is purpose, which we
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like how you elaborated um, regarding your the when talking about meaning. You gave a contrast of experiences, the or activities, the activity to choose to drink alcohol, or the decision or the activity to develop your skills in the form of learning psychology. And I think the difference is with I guess alcohol consumption as a in the form of an activity. It seems like it comes with a sacrifice, the sacrifice of your health, and that probably would result in you not having an authentic sense of meaning or purpose. Where
Yep.
if you engage in a healthy activity such as reading about a concept that is interesting and appealing to yourself, that seems to not come with a sacrifice of that can result in detriment.
Yeah, like
Um, what'd you say?
it's productive, something productive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So at that point, I guess for someone who is living the lifestyle of consuming alcohol, I guess it would take an initiative on their behalf to deviate from behaving in such a way to discover an alternative experience that they could be productive in. Would you agree?
Yep, definitely agree. And it's not easy. And the first step, like I said, is action. Like, do things, do everything you can. Just do that, do this, and see what works for you, what brings you some purpose.
Mhm. And you had said earlier too that I think you said your challenge with, I guess, and you can correct me, but your challenge with knowing who you are and totality, and sometimes you use the perspective of others to assess how you are conducting yourself as an individual. Is that correct?
That's correct, because I focused a lot on action and
Hmm.
meaning, which, as I said, I'm gonna talk about these two a lot today. So they are absolutely crucial, but it also matters to look inside yourself. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who feels this way, that they don't really understand themselves to the fullest, and this is also important. So yeah, this is like the step I'm working on right now, which is very
Okay.
important as a psychologist as well, because not every psychology has taken all these necessary steps into evolving. You really have to know yourself and know where you're coming from.
Hmm. Well, if I can provide a methodology that I use in terms of enhancing, excuse me, my self awareness or intrapersonal intellect, is I'm a proponent of the philosophy that action becomes identity. So if one conducts, if one takes action, that action then becomes who they are. So, for example, I have a friend who is an artist, and so through her initiatives to paint, she then that those actions of painting pictures become who she is. And so, without taking the initiative to act in a productive way, then we don't discover who we are without taking such actions. And so I think if if it could be resourceful, I think if you can sense opportunities to develop and grow yourself, and you choose to engage in those opportunities, I think seemingly intuitively, your identity of self will continuously grow, because it seems like energy is directional. It can go one way or the other, and what I mean by that is that energy can grow or it can diminish. And so, if you choose to direct your energies in a productive way, they can result in growth of who you are as well as your identity. How relatable is my expression to you?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's actually it's the Confucian theory about growth. Like
Hmm.
Confucius was saying that we are a sum of our habits, and those habits form who we are. And he was
Hmm.
actually saying that it's important to challenge those habits and not go too much in one direction, you know. As I was saying, try multiple things, challenge those habits, and that's the way to grow. So yeah, I do agree that, which is what I took from what you were saying, that habits and activities make us who we are. We are some of our habits.
Yeah, because I think alternatively too, if we simply talk on, because I think also we can also, if we don't initiate actions in a productive way, the alternative would be going down a path of false identity, where we are doing things like lying, cheating, stealing, that intuitively or subconsciously isn't going to help us to grow. And I think a person can live the rest of their life on a path of living a false identity, which I think I watched a documentary of a famous actor here in America. His name was Paul Rubens, also known as Pee Wee Herman. And in the documentary, he was talking about how, for fear of how people would receive his various characters that he played, he chose to stay, only choose one character, even though he was multi-talented. And he also chose to present himself as this character when he was not on in a movie studio being recorded for a movie. So even in his regular life, outside of being in on a TV show or on a stage for plays, he was presenting himself as this character, though he was aware that this wasn't who he truly was. And there was one day when he was provided a chance to have a new. There was a new venue in Los Angeles that wanted him to perform there, and it was going to be for several months. And they put his name on the front of the marquee in front of the building. Not his name, but his character name, Pee Wee Herman. And he said one day when he was standing out front of the building, he looked at the character's name and he started to experience anxiety, because he was afraid that he would spend the rest of his life portraying himself as something that he was aware that he wasn't. And so the idea that he was going to basically imprison himself to this character caused him to become anxious and be in a place of uncertainty if he wanted to continue performing because of his false identity, which I thought was pretty interesting.
It is.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, what inspired you to become a psychologist?
Well, there were three things. First of all, I wasn't really satisfied with what I was doing anymore, because like
Mm-hmm.
I'm 38 years old, and I changed careers. So I started psychology like 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
later than usual, which is okay because you also need some life experience to become a psychologist. But the three things were: first of all, I wasn't really satisfied with what I was doing. I wanted to do something with purpose, with meaning, useful for society, and that was my idea of doing it because I always liked psychology and was passionate about it. And third, my mentor and my therapist, which I respect a lot, told me I would be good at it, and I'm pretty good at receiving compliments, so I took her word for it.
Wow. Well, firstly, I'm glad that you have someone who is supportive of you, who is your mentor and hopefully your friend as well. But one thing that I like to ask guests who are currently engaging in an experience that they have stated is a productive experience is how are you enjoying the process of being a psychologist?
I enjoy aspects of it, but it's not necessarily like you don't have to enjoy everything. Like there are also difficult parts. There are parts that I don't necessarily enjoy, but that's good. Discomfort also produces growth.
Hmm.
Overall, I'm really enjoying it. Like I like it as a whole. I like psychotherapy. Like I just love it. But of course, there are a lot of things. Like I had to study tons of statistics and stuff like that, which I didn't like at all. And as you get tired, every day doing some kind of psychology related work. Uh, but overall, really like it, love it, and I've learned to be happy when I feel discomfort because I know that tolerating discomfort is a key aspect of growing as well.
Hmm. Well, yes, I'm glad you enjoy the process of uh, the engagement of being a psychologist. And I like to ask that question because it seems, in referencing what you had said earlier, of why the reason why you disengaged from the previous industry you worked in is because it seemed that you weren't enjoying that process, which I think is okay. It's naturally okay. Um, I think for me, like, if I assess my engagements in an activity and I sense that there is displeasure, which can come in multiple forms, like it can be danger or harm or emotional distress or stress. I tend to not disregard the experiences in the process of doing an activity, and if the indicators are sufficient, I will disengage from an experience. And so, but I do relate to what you're saying regarding the challenges of being in the process of doing something that you enjoy, such as you said, the statistical aspects of learning psychology. um, so, but overall, it seems like the reason why you the reason why you continue to learn and develop your skills in this industry is because there is a sense of enjoyment and fulfillment uh, in this process. Is that accurate assessment?
Yeah, absolutely, and it also helps me to develop myself in all aspects of life. And regarding what you said, I do agree. Like, if it's something that you don't like, or you feel like this is not for me, I'm not feeling good doing this, of course you don't have to persevere to infinity, but if it's an activity it's meaningful for you, then yeah, the discomfort which comes with it, it's important to take it, accept it. As I said, like, I'm happy now when I feel discomfort, because I know from discomfort comes development.
Mm. And you mentioned a term that I don't have much experience with, which is psychotherapy. So what can you tell myself and others uh, about psychotherapy?
Okay, so there are basically two components of being a psychologist. It's a clinical psychologist, which does evaluations, maybe works in a hospital, gives you tests. Basically, it's mostly an evaluation process. Psychotherapy is helping a person overcome their struggles, understand themselves. Like people say, I go to therapy. That's what they mean. They go to psychotherapy. You have to study, like in Romania, for 8 years to become a psychotherapist. I think in USA, I was talking at a conference with a doctor in psychology from USA. I think in USA it's like 10 years or something like that to become a psychotherapist. In the past, I think you needed a doctorate, which is not true anymore. Anyway, it's a very long process. People come with all sorts of problems. You discuss those problems, help them understand what they want and what they need, and then work in that direction. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I'm glad you were able to provide a discernment of psychotherapy, and you said what was the other clinical
Clinical psychologist.
clinical psychologist?
For example, a parent may come with a kid, a child who's suspected of ADHD, and the clinical psychologist makes an evaluation, gives that child some tests, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they work in the hospital, identifying maybe addictions or. I can elaborate if you want, but I don't know if.
I think I got the overview from how you
Yeah,
from what you said.
it's a bit different. Usually, a clinical psychologist only does like a few sessions, identifying the problem,
Mm-hmm.
some suggestions, and maybe sending the client to a psychiatrist, like a medic or a psychotherapist.
Mm. And it seems you prefer to be a psychotherapist compared to a clinical psychologist. Is this correct?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, I use clinical psychology as a process of learning.
Mm.
My goal of being a psychotherapist, which I have maybe 1 year to go until I get my license for psychotherapy.
Why is it such a long required process of going to school for, I think you said, at minimum 8 years to attaining a degree in psychotherapy?
Yeah, so it's basically 8 years of studies, but you can overlap some, and if you really try your hardest, you can do it in 5. You can compress 8 years of study in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you're working with people's minds. I mean, you can do damage if you're not prepared. It makes sense to, kind of like in medicine. Medicine, I don't know how much do you need, like, the faculty of medicine is maybe 5 years, then you go to training, probably a decade. So also in psychology, you need to be prepared.
Okay, so do you feel like the 8 year minimum is relatable amount of time or sufficient practical amount of time?
Yeah, 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 it is.
Oh, Okay, that's good to know because it does seem like it's a long time.
I mean, there are certain things which certain things which we are required to do, which I think are useless. Like it could be maybe even less than 8 years of study. It could be maybe 5 would be enough.
Mm.
I, and at first you're working under supervision anyway, so you have a client and then you go discuss with your supervisor who's more experienced, and the supervisor can tell you, can give you some advice, or that lasts for like 2 years.
And so, like on your Instagram page, you do mention like you show emphasis on addiction recovery as well as anxiety recovery. So, how is psychotherapy relevant to addictions and anxiety in terms of recovery?
Well, addictions in particular and anxiety might be some of the issues which benefit most from psychotherapy. Because someone with addiction, like what can you do? You can give him some medication if it's a substance addiction, but that doesn't really solve the problem. It just makes you functional so you can really work on fixing the problem. Does that make sense? Like, for example, anxiety meds. Like, I don't want to have anxiety anymore, which, by the way, won't happen. We will all still have anxiety. It's about managing it. But let's say I have so much anxiety I can't function. I know you can go to a psychiatrist and take some meds, but that medication doesn't fix the problem. It just makes you functional so you can do things to fix it. That's where psychotherapy comes in. You work with yourself. You find things, learn things about you, learn things about yourself, learn how you function, why you do certain things is very important. Why am I drinking so much? Because I'm jumping a little bit from one thing to another, but the studies actually show that I think 90% of people say they do drugs or alcohol out of habit. So that's not a proper answer, out of habit. You basically don't know why you're doing it. So you must understand why you do it. Psychotherapy can help in this way, and helps you take action to start managing your problems better, to grow basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sometimes psychotherapy, people may interpret psychotherapy as being, you just go to talk to someone and say what's on your chest and just talk for years. No, psychotherapy is difficult. It's about doing things.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. And regarding yourself, as someone who has been able to manage anxiety as well as overcome alcohol addiction, what did you discover about yourself of why you were experiencing these circumstances?
Well, in my particular case, which is not that particular, because it's similar for a lot of people, there were two elements. One, the anxiety was so humongous that in order to function in social circles, I felt I needed some stimulant, which was alcohol. So basically drinking to calm my anxiety, which in the end brings more anxiety. So it's a trick. And the second aspect, which was making me, for example, drink at home by myself, was it was about my emotional pain and things unsatisfaction I had with my life, and just going into the direction of self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
because I had beliefs about myself that I'm useless, that I'm not good, that nobody can want me. And the brain likes certainty. So the brain is not really our ally. We sometimes have to trick the brain. The brain likes certainty. This is very common in addictions. So if my core beliefs are that I'm useless, that I can't be loved, the brain will make you do things in the direction of self-sabotage to confirm those core beliefs. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was also this element for me. A lot of anxiety trying to function in social circumstances, and then just trying to confirm that I'm worthless
Mm.
and distracting.
Well,
Which
I'm
I
over.
wasn't like, I was functional. I wasn't like sleeping in a ditch. Uh, but it was influencing my life negatively, alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Uh,
because even if you, let's say you drink, you get drunk once a week, it takes a while. Like we think, okay, I will have a hangover next day, and then I'll be fine. It doesn't work that way. It takes days and days and days to be back at 100%. So if I'm drinking on Saturday, I'll get back to 100% by Friday, by which point I'm drinking again. So I'm never at 100%.
mm.
And it's much better now, like feeling clear-minded all the time. And because that's basically what I was doing. I was getting drunk, like really drunk once or twice a week. I wasn't drinking every day. But it's still an alcohol disorder. You don't have to do it every day, like have a shot when you wake up to be an alcoholic. No, it's about behavior more than frequency of use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you overcame your addiction, and it seems like um, your productivity has increased as a result of you disengaging from the experience of alcohol, which I'm going to ask you about a passion of yours, which is travel. What can you tell me about your travels?
I love it so much, man. Like I've started this 3 years ago, and it was a vulnerable time for me, and I was dealing with some emotional pain, and I was thinking like I don't know what to do with myself. I need to get out of here, and I remember I googled where to go to heal your soul. I found this little town in India on the Ganga River. It's called Rishikesh. And the first time I saw it, it was like, this is where I have to go. So I booked mind you, I wasn't traveling that much before and never traveled by myself. I booked the plane. I went there. First day was crazy because like I found myself alone in New Delhi, totally different culture. Like I was like, what am I doing here? So anyway, I traveled a bit around India. I went to Rishikesh, where I stayed in a hostel and made so many friends, and it was amazing. It's a very spiritual little town in India. It's known for yoga, but also meditation, spirituality. It was exactly what I needed. I mean, it didn't fix me or heal me, but it was a step in this direction. And then I went to Nepal for a couple of weeks. It was like a 2 months solo trip, and I liked it so much that it made me start this activity. And I just love meeting new people. Uh, Met so many amazing people. Had so many great experience. It was, and for my anxiety, it was the cherry on top. Like I had already worked on my anxiety, uh, but starting solo travel, this really like it almost went away entirely because it never does go away entirely. But staying in hostels, sleeping with 9 people in the same room. It was something I would have never imagined. So yeah, and after India and Nepal, I every chance I got, I went somewhere by myself, and just lovely. It's a
Yeah, I'm glad.
it's a
I'm
very
glad you had
social
that.
experience, because people say like, "Where are you going by yourself? Don't you have any friends? Are you a sociopath?" No, it's actually super social, because you meet so many people. If you go with 3 or 4 friends, you basically go stay with your friend group. If you go by yourself and stay at hostels, for example, you meet tens of people. And yeah, this is something I really love doing.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed traveling. I'm glad you had the opportunity to go to the small town in India and Nepal. I know me personally. I know some people who tend to choose to not engage in unknown experiences unless other people will accompany them to these places, and it can be somewhere local or it can even be somewhere far. I think I relate and reflect you in terms of the habit to go to locations by myself if any other people aren't willing to do so. I still find enjoyment and entertainment by doing things alone. And so for those people who may be afraid or for whatever reason choose not to experience new places, what encouragement can you provide them from your experience in traveling to these different countries?
So first of all, like, it's not mandatory. Like, not everybody has to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. You can do other things. But if you want to do it and you're like anxious about it, just do some good research about where you're going, and maybe laws, rules in that country. See if there are areas with danger. For example, in Romania, we have, on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website, we have a grade of danger for each country. Don't go somewhere where it's 9 out of 10 danger. So do some research and then just do it, because you'll never be ready. Uh,
Mm,
Confidence and readiness comes from doing things. Just
yes.
go, maybe go first time, I don't know, to somewhere nearby. If you're really anxious about it, just go to your own country, to another city. Maybe like I went straight to India. I don't know, maybe it was not the best way to do it, even it out well in the end. You don't have to do it like that.
Yeah.
Just do it, and research, so you know it's safe.
Yes, I agree. And I think too, if I can provide additional insight about um, going into the unknown or going into a foreign experience, it seems like I'm a spiritual person. So, like God or the universe or the presence seems to provide us indications of when we can or should or shouldn't engage in something that can be of benefit or detriment. And so I think it's and so that's why it's important to be aware of the present. And so when we start to conceptualize what could happen if we go somewhere we've never been to before or go outside of our comfort zone, we're then distracted from what's actually happening now. And that can result in us uh, overlooking the indicators that are presented to us about how this unknown place shows no demonstration of harm or danger, similar to what you were talking about and the website. It shows you data that talks about the levels of danger, and from there you can assess these indications of whether you want to consider going to a particular place or not. So I think to overcome the fear is it's just a matter of being aware of what presently is happening versus trying to think about what could happen as well. Um, so that's my insight
That's really
regarding yeah.
perspective.
Mm, yeah, I agree. Um, so we're gonna go to the next segment. Uh, Ra- Radu he provided me with some photographs from his travels, so we're gonna share some of these on the podcast, and he can provide us insight about the details of them. But before we get to that one, I want to show this. And I'm gonna move. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, so this is a map of this is a map of a portion of Europe. This and Romania is highlighted. So for those people who enjoy geography and maybe unaware where Romania is, it is the country that is highlighted in red. And correct me if I'm wrong, Radu, you are in the state capital, which is in the lower corner, Bucharest. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. And it looks like the overall, from what read, the overall population of Romania is, I think it was like 19 million people. Does that seem like
Yeah,
pretty accurate?
this is it. Yeah, like 19
Okay.
million, and we have like maybe 5 million people abroad, like expats working abroad.
Mm, okay. Okay.
We're a pretty big
Um,
country in Europe. Like you can see, we're not that small.
yeah, it looks like one of the bigger cities, I mean countries, and it looks like Bucharest is not too far from a body of water. It looks like the closest body of water is the Black Sea.
Yeah, it's like 300 kilometers, which is like 190 miles or something like that.
Oh, okay, that's not a far drive. I've that's kind of funny. Like here in California, I went on a road trip to a city I've never been to before. It's called Visalia, California. It's going towards Los Angeles, California. It's in the area of California. It's probably they call it the Central Valley or Central California. And from where I live in the Bay Area, it's about 200 miles from Visalia. So this is in one state. So
Wow.
yeah. So I guess that gives perspective of people who are unfamiliar of how large California is. Um, the comparison. But yeah, have you been to the Black Sea?
Yeah, of course, many times, especially when I was a kid or a teenager. I'm not a particular seaside person. I'm like mountains more,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been like many times. And yeah, like I was saying, Romania is a pretty big country, but if you're comparing it to the USA, it's not actually that big.
Yeah, it's probably. I wonder what size would Romania be to a state in a comparable size to a state in the United States. I'll look that up at another point. But it's probably, well, if it's 200 miles from Bucharest to the Black Sea, it's
It's
probably
the
small.
it says Oregon. I just looked it up.
Oh, okay, it's the state of size of Oregon. Wow.
Is
Yeah,
that
that's not a. That's a. It's Oregon is. It's not a small state, but it's a decent sized state. But that's interesting. It's the size of Oregon.
And it's
Wow.
one of the biggest countries in Europe. I think in the European Union we might be the sixth largest. I'm not sure, but that's what I remember.
Okay. And then
Yes,
in
different animal.
And then in the city of Bucharest, um, how is do you get four seasons there?
Yep, we
Four
do.
seasons. Okay, we don't get four seasons here in
Really?
California.
Ah, yeah, yeah. You're a warm weather state.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're gonna go on to the next scene. Okay, so this is one of the photos that he shared with us. So what can you tell me about this photo, Radu?
This was taken in Albania in the ThE mountains. It was actually my second solo trip. Right after I went to India, like I was really wanting to go somewhere else because I liked it so much, and I thought, where can I go that it's maybe cheaper? Because like I can't afford to spend all the time traveling around the world. And Albania, pretty close to Romania, it's not very expensive, so I said, let me go 2 weeks there, and it was amazing. Like Albania is one of the most amazing countries I've ever been in, and the people I met there, absolutely amazing. I had a great experience. I went there like 2 times and went everywhere in Albania. This was the first time I went there. It's called the Valbona Pass. It's a famous spot in the Albanian Alps. So I was really happy that I got to the top because it wasn't easy for me. You noticed before the podcast I'm smoking. So for smokers, even though I'm in decent physical condition and like to do sports, it's pretty tough to walk up one uh, something meters. So I was really excited. Yeah, amazing people, amazing experiences in Albania.
Mm. And uh, how long of a flight is Albania from Bucharest, Romania?
I think 1.5 hours, if I remember correctly, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty close.
Okay. And how similar is the culture of Albania compared to Romania?
It's pretty similar actually, almost very similar. Like they have more Turkish influences, maybe I don't wanna say something wrong, but yeah, it's quite similar. Most Albanians knew words in Romanian, which I was surprised about.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to like Romanians a lot for some reason. Like we're not neighboring countries, but we're not that far apart, and the culture is quite similar.
Mm. Is the weather similar too?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Like I would say they're probably the nation in Europe which is developing the fastest, especially when it comes to tourism, because
Mm-hmm.
it's an absolutely wonderful country, but they lack infrastructure, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're making big investments, and I'm sure like in 10 years it will be one of the main destinations for tourism in Europe. It, tourists number are already growing exponentially each year. Lovely country, lovely people.
How long did it take for you to reach the summit of that mountain?
Maybe like 5 hours,
Mm.
like
Wow.
that. It's not the Everest mountain, but for regular people, it, it's challenging.
Yeah, I mean, based on what I see, is you're not at ground level for sure.
Yeah, it's like 2,000 meters high, which
Hmm.
I might, might be. No, I don't really know the translation between the conversion between meters and feet. Don't want to say
It's,
something silly.
it's okay. How long did it take to get to that area from where you were staying in your hostel in Albania?
I flew from Romania to Tirana, which is the capital of Albania, And then I took a bus to the mountains, which was like, I had two buses actually. The first bus was maybe 2 or 3 hours, and the second bus maybe 2 hours, maybe 4 hours in total. I don't remember exactly, but something like that.
Mm-hmm. And were you with a group or were you traveling by yourself?
By myself, but when I got to the mountains, I met people there, and the hike was in a group with the people I met there. We were staying at a local family who had like a little house there,
Mm-hmm.
and they used it to for tourists who came there to
Yeah.
offer accommodation. And I met people there and around the village, and one day we went up together.
In terms of the communication with the locals, you did mention earlier that they spoke some, uh, that they knew some Romanian words, but was there a language barrier in terms of communicating with them overall?
No, like they they only knew a few Romanian words, so not enough to communicate. But everybody knows English in this day and age. So
Mm.
only at that guest house in the mountains, that family we stayed at, they didn't speak English, but you can still get around and communicate.
Mm. Okay. How were you able to arrange staying in the guest house in the mountains?
They were on Booking.com.
Wow.
Of course, like
That's funny.
everybody is on Booking today. The clients come from. Everybody
Yeah,
is modern and aware of technology.
that's good. And how's the food of Albania?
Um, it was okay for me. Like everybody says, it's amazing. For me, it was just okay. It's very similar to Romanian food, which
Hmm.
made me just so used to Romanian food that it wasn't anything special for me.
Okay.
But everybody says it's great, so it probably really is great. It's just that I was kind of used to it.
Ah, let's see. I don't think I've had a Romanian food. I don't know here in the Bay Area if there's any Romanian cuisine restaurants, but
There,
I may do some research to see. Is there
I'm gonna send you
any?
it up and send you some places. I'm sure there are Romanian places in the Bay Area.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of like Mediterranean, Greek restaurants here, but at least not advertised as Romanian, specifically Romanian cuisine. I haven't seen yet, but yeah, you can send me that.
If there
Okay,
are,
we're gonna go.
come there and open a restaurant. Yes.
All right, we're gonna go to the next scene. Yeah. What can you tell me about this scene? This photograph.
Yeah, this is in New Delhi in India, at the Hammurabi tomb,
Mm-hmm.
which is building similar to the Taj Mahal. And it was a school day or something like that, and there were at least 500 kids there, maybe 1,000.
Wow.
Me being the only tourist, because I went there in kind of the off season, there weren't as many tourists. I was the only tourist, and the kids were really excited to see me, and everybody wanted to shake my hand and take pictures with me. I told you earlier before the podcast that I was feeling like LeBron James. Here I took a picture with the kids. I also have some videos. It was amazing. Like they wanted to help me around, show me stuff, and then asked me to tell them how it is inside, because I don't know why children weren't allowed inside the tomb, which
Hmm.
it's not like it was just a like in a church or something. I don't know why they weren't allowed.
Mm-hmm.
But then I told everyone how it was, and we had a great time.
Mm. And And how far how long of a flight is was it from Romania to this town in India?
So from Romania to New Delhi, you have to take two connecting flights. The total is like 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And from New Delhi to this town called Rishikesh, if you take a plane, which I did, I think it's like 2 hours tops. It's this little village or town is in the north of India at the foothills of the Himalayas. So that's where the Himalayas begin, but not mountains, it's just hills in that
Mm-hmm.
area. And on the famous Ganga River.
Yeah, that's like that. That's the main river of India, right? The
Yeah, yeah,
Ganga.
the Holy River. And by the way,
Yeah,
because you asked me about food, Indian food was just out of this world for me. I loved it so much.
yeah. I'm glad you were able to eat some delicious Indian food. I enjoy Indian food as well. I love like some curry chickpeas with some naan bread. um, and what I was gonna ask you, I've read regarding the Ganga River. It does experience a lot of pollution due to some of the cities that live on the riverbank, uh, putting a lot of waste in there, and they're trying to put forth an effort to clean up the
Exactly.
Ganga River. Did you experience a lot of pollution and waste in the around that area?
So first of all, what you said is really accurate. The river is very dirty, but at the same time, they are making efforts to clean it. Like there are policemen in villages on the river banks, fining people who throw things in the river. They used to throw dead bodies in the river, which I understand they don't really do anymore because the fines are huge if you do that. So there is an effort to clean it. As for my experience, being in the northern part of India, so closer to where the Ganga River starts, it wasn't as polluted because it didn't have the chance to pass through all the cities. It was closer to where the Ganga River starts from. It
Mm-hmm.
was, and in that part, mountains, hills, it wasn't as polluted.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Although
I'm
I did,
glad.
there was an Australian person who uh, put his head underwater and then got sick. But still, it was definitely cleaner than in the southern part.
Yeah, yeah. I think that goes back to what we were talking about, being aware of indicators and
Yeah.
why you probably shouldn't put your head in the Ganga River if there's reports that it's experiencing pollution. um, and then, and regarding the communication with the children here in this photo, was there a language barrier, or did they also speak English similar to the people in Albania?
No, Indian people speak English. I mean, they used to be a British colony.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the second language there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, everybody, at least at the basic level, everybody knows English.
Mm-hmm. What were some activities that you enjoyed while being there in India?
Well, the activity I enjoyed most was just meeting people and connecting with people. Besides that, I enjoyed the friends I made. The Indian friends I made there took me to all kinds of river banks and authentic places. We swam in all kinds of rivers, waterfalls, really nice. Bungee jumping was great and super scary, but I don't know, I liked it a lot, like even more than I expected to like it. Those few seconds were quite incredible. Uh, River rafting was nice. This one I did actually in Nepal. Went to some caves, zip line. Uh, I had a lot of adventures. But yeah, the authentic experiences I had with the people I met there and bungee jumping were the most exciting for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to establish relationships with the people, the locals there. I think when I travel, I am intentional about establishing relationships with people rather than just simply, going there for um, what's the word, uh,
Like
capitalistic
tourism.
intentions. Just trying to like feast off the land without some form of reciprocation. And so like even when I travel now, I do try to also be intentional about giving back unconditionally in the form of like either donating to an individual or some, if I have an opportunity to donate to an organization of the city. I think that helps to maintain the balance of unconditionality, which, when I think about the world or the planet, it provides us resources unconditionally without an expectation of a return. So I try to also, that helps me to stay grounded and be in alignment with the universe through emulating it by being unconditional, having a having an intentionality to be unconditional about how I conduct myself if given the opportunity. And so even like when you initiate having a conversation with a child in a place that you've never been before, that can be an act of unconditionality as well,
Yeah,
versus choosing not to say anything and just be on your phone or go to a restaurant and eat the food that is prepared and offered in these locations. So these are like uh, that initiation can help you stay connected.
yeah, the connection. Yeah,
Yeah, so I can relate to that.
yeah.
I th-
Is very important, and we are suffering in today's society in terms of connecting with both with each others and with ourselves.
mhm. We're short on time. There was some other photos, but
Uh,
we
you
we
can
can
get
yeah, we're you can visit Radu's Instagram page where he has additional photos, and I would imagine too if people wanted to inquire with you about your posts, they can post comments on your Instagram page, and you could respond back. Correct?
yeah, you can gloss over them, no problem.
Okay, we'll just go through them really quickly.
I'll tell you where they're from. Bungee
Mhm.
jumping, India.
Let's see, was there anything else? Oh, it's just those three. I only picked three.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem. I wanted like to add some pictures with the friends I've made
yeah.
because I lot, but I wasn't sure like if they would be okay with that, and so I just put a few pictures with myself and the kids.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next scene, which is the multiple intelligence theory.
Yep.
So for those who are unaware of the multiple intelligence theory, when it comes to um, intellectual theory in general, at least here in the United States, there's two popular, and one is more popular than the other. The first popular theory suggests that we as individuals have three forms of intellect, which would be logical, mathematical, linguistic slash writing, and naturalistic slash scientific. And so here in the United States, when we reach the high school level and are at the point of transitioning to the collegiate level, high schools require us to take an exam. And that exam is based around these three forms of intellect. And based on our performance and scoring, uh, we are then assessed if we are eligible to enroll in college systems at universities in such nature. And it seems like this testing system is based off of this popular theory that we have three forms of intellect. However, there's an alternative theory, and it was presented by a theorist named Howard Gardner, which suggests that in addition to the three forms of intellect that I mentioned, we also have six additional uh, intellects. And those six additional would be musical, existential, interpersonal slash people smart, bodily kinesthetic slash body smart, intrapersonal slash self smart, and spatial intelligence. And so I like to present this theory on the podcast so in hopes that it can inspire awareness in viewers. And because it's possible that some people may have low self esteem, low self confidence because they have not developed the three popularized intellects: reading, writing, and math, reading, writing, science, and math in their lives at present, but they may have high degrees of other forms of intellect. And so if they discover that they have developed themselves in other areas of intelligence in general, this can help to boost morale and motivate people to want to continue to grow themselves intellectually. So, what I want to ask Radu is of the nine intelligences, which one or more do you sense you have high degrees in?
Okay, so first of all, this is a theory I really like, even though in academic psychology circles it has been kind of controversial because there's not really empirical scientific evidence for this theory, these multiple types of intelligence. It is true though that we do have these multiple types of intelligence, just that they are also interconnected. Like they're not really separate. They work with each other, if that makes sense. As for your question, I would definitely say my strength lies in existential intelligence, according to this theory. Interpersonal, which I have built over time, and the naturalist.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how how regarding those three intellects you since you have high degrees in, um, how can one develop their skills based on your experience?
Through doing things and taking action, which is my
Mm-hmm.
mantra, as you got out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by doing things, for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
And what have you done specifically to develop your intelligences?
Let's take interpersonal, for example, because this is one I have really built over time. I just exposed myself to social situations, like initially under guidance, because if you're doing it by yourself, it can actually be detrimental. Because if, for example, you have too much anxiety and expose yourself to a situation which produce really high level of anxiety, you can even get traumatized. Uh, but if you do exposure under the guidance of a psychotherapist, for example, what we were talking about earlier, doing it in incremental steps, imagining the situation first. You do this, you eventually you build skills. You expose yourself to social situations, different social contexts, meet people from different age group, different social classes, in different situations, different contexts. You start building these abilities. Of course, personally, with the traveling, that also helped a lot. As I said, it was the cherry on top in helping me to build these interpersonal skills. So as I said, action, doing things, exposing yourself to different scenarios. In mathematical, for example, I exposed myself for a decade because I used to be a programmer, web designer, but it had no meaning for me, that activity. I didn't like it. So, as I was saying earlier, action without meaning didn't really lead to growth in that particular uh, field. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So, exposure, doing things, taking action.
How were you able to develop your existential intelligence?
I think this one I was kind of born with. Like, this is the way my brain is wired. I have always enjoyed philosophical questions, for example. Um, Probably through discussions I had, like this podcast would be an example. Had many discussions with many people about the purpose, the meaning of life, about our place in the universe. Uh, so, yeah, discussing, connecting with people, and uh, no, born talent for existential intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Which I can relate to, because when I think about spirituality or spiritual related topics, sometimes it seems people will avoid initiating conversations about them for fear of what other people may say. But if you do have some curiosity, uh, I think it will take an initiative in order for you to discover what there is about the spiritual realm. It's sort of like opening a door. And so hopefully, if people are spiritually curious, they can encounter other people who are of like minds, who can then share their perspective on spirituality, which can result in an enhancement of their existential intelligence. And that can also you can also enhance that through reading, such as philosophy, philosophical questions. Yeah, so yeah, I'm glad you talked about how you have taken these initiatives to talk about other people about philosophy and spirituality as well.
That's what the idea of your podcast as well, learning through each other's experiences. No?
Yes, yes, it is. It's because I'm a advocate of the philosophy that growth inspires growth. Similar to how a child can be inspired by a parent and by a parent's growth, which the child can emulate. It seems that even in adulthood, adults can inspire one another through how they are growing as individuals as well. So this is, and through our expressionism, we can hopefully be inspired through um, perspectives. Yeah. So we're gonna go to the final segment of the podcast. If you have any comments or questions, you're invited to post them in the comment section of YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. And when Radu and I myself will attempt to address them if there's an opportunity. So the next segment is called the Interpreting Expression segment. So in this segment, I like to present an expression which can come in the form of a statement or a question that is relatable to myself and is also inspiring to me resourcefully for me growing myself. And so, and I like to present the expression on the show and share an interpretation of it from my perspective, and as well as invite the featured guests to share their interpretation of it. And once we express our interpretations, hopefully they will be relatable to ourselves as well as to the viewers, which can then they can use as a tool to better themselves as well. So today's interpreting expressions statement is, or quote is, possibility and hope work together. Radu, how would you interpret this expression?
If you have hope and there is also the possibility, then it leads the way to application, to action. It's pretty much my interpretation of this quote. So hope, and I would add meaning, like there's something you hope to achieve, you want to achieve, it's important to you. Possibility, it's possible, then the road is open for you to take action in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how relatable is this expression to yourself?
I believe you can create possibility even if it doesn't seem to exist at first. It's relatable, but I don't think possibility has to be something which is clear and obvious that this is possible. You can make it possible even if it doesn't seem that way.
Mm. Okay. Um, so I will share my interpretation of it. So when I think sometimes when there's words can sometimes words have root words, or sometimes words can be interchangeable. And so when I think about possibility, one word that I can seems to use one word that can be used interchangeably for me is opportunity. Possibility and opportunity seem like words that can be used interchangeably. And so I think when there is possibility, one can also be hopeful for an outcome. And so, but for me, I think where I differ with you regarding possibility, from my perspective, it seems like I cannot make possibility. It seems like possibility or opportunity is a external phenomenon. Even I would say a spiritual phenomenon. And so, like, for example, if I have the opportunity to apply for a job, that opportunity to apply in itself is something that I cannot make, but it can be offered from an external source. And so then once I apply for it, I can be hopeful that that there will be another opportunity for me to be hired for the job. Or I think one of my young coworkers had told me one day, he said, success can come with resiliency and persistence, or you can make success through your actions. Though I asked him the question, well, it seems like that may be the case regarding the professional realm of experience, but what about in the situation of relationships? If I were to show interest in a woman, or be attracted to a woman, and so then I take the initiative to court her, and she chooses not to reciprocate my intentionality, Do I continue to pursue this woman even though there's indication that she is not interested, with the expectation that she will eventually change her mind? Or do I disengage and be content with the outcome?
Okay, so I think there's a middle ground between our diverging opinions. Like, obviously, there has to be a degree of opportunity. There are things which are not possible. For example, if I want to be the president of the United States, I can't, because first of all, I was not born there, so I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in your example, in a romantic context, maybe the girl simply doesn't like you. There's nothing you can do about that, but you can learn from that and try another time with another person, get better at it, and eventually get what you're looking for. In the context with the job, even if there's not a position, you can just go bang at their door. Hello, I want to work here. Maybe it won't bother you anyway. But for example, when I finished psychology university, I was really looking for an internship position to learn, because I wanted application, nothing beats experience. And there were no such positions, but I just sent emails to all the clinics in Bucharest. I literally banged at their door, and somebody eventually offered me this opportunity. So I think there's a middle ground between our views of this situation.
Yeah, and I think the middle ground is
No,
the
your chance is to be given the opportunity. It may work or it may not, but you can try to create it for yourself.
hmm
Usually
Yeah, I
it will
think. What were you gonna say?
usually it will work.
Usually it'll work.
You put enough effort, usually things will work out. Usually, not
Mm.
all.
Right. And the question is when do we learn to have when do we the question is, when do we exercise self-discipline to disengage? That's the question, I guess.
Well, this is where knowing yourself and being in contact with your inner self comes comes to be of use. You have to know exactly who you are and what you want and what you are willing to do, and then you will just feel it when it's time to
Yeah.
start shift, uh, shift perspective or shift priorities.
Yes, I agree. Because I think, like, I know that some people fall in the temptation of, for example, in the workplace, some people have fallen into the temptation of overworking themselves to the point where they are experience injuries, physical injuries, because it seems like they disregarded their inner self, or their sense of self awareness of when their bodies are uh, indicating that they're
Yeah, the body will also tell you, like body and mind, they are they are
yeah.
connected.
Yeah, I agree. And then I wanted to read a quote, because I was kind of uncertain about the difference between possibility and probability. But it was saying probability is a mathematical measure of chance, often expressed with percentages, whereas possibility is an outcome that might happen.
Yeah.
And then my interpretation of that is, without action, seemingly probability is not
Void.
is non-existent if in the physical dimension, uh, while possibility does. So what I mean by that is, I'll use an analogy. So like dice, rolling dice at a casino. Um, like if there's a pair of dice on the casino table, it is possible that there could be an infinite amount of outcomes conceptually. But the question is, you know, if I choose to take action to pick up the dice, um, no, will these outcomes happen once I start, throwing the dice? And it seems like probability happens when there's action taken. So like, uh, is it possible, going back to like a job? Is it possible for me to get a job? Yes. At present, yes. But
You also
the
make a
prob
saying like possibility can exist without action. I'm not sure I agree with that. Like you need to take action to make that job possible.
Mhm.
Because if you just lie in your bed and do nothing, the possibility doesn't exist to get that job.
Mm.
Probability is zero, and if the probability is zero, then there is no possibility either.
Yeah.
Probability is just the degree to which a degree of possibility. So it can
A
be less,
degree of.
yeah, less probable, more probable. Something which is possible can be less probable or more probable.
Mm.
Sorry for
So
interrupting.
no, it's okay. Because I think I was thinking about like percentages, and I'm not conclusively saying this, but if I were to like use the numerical system, like po- I would say possibility seems to be can come in the form of 0%, and then like probability is 1% to infinity. Like for example, like you know, like I think you were saying this earlier, like possibly, I can get a job, but in terms of action, if there's no action, it's at 0%. But then if I like apply for a job, that possibility becomes a probability, and then it'll be like the probability of me getting hired, which is still uncertain.
Yeah,
It
which is,
goes from like 1% to 100%, but
yeah,
still uncertain though.
yeah.
Is
And
that is that relatable?
yeah, in a way, probability is just a way to measure possibility, I think.
Yeah, and that's another word, a key word that I think distinguishes probability from possibility. The word measure, like measurement or measuring, is an action. Would you say?
Yeah,
Yeah, and so without taking an action to measure something, um, would we even care about a probability? You know, anyway, it has. I guess you gotta actually show interest in wanting to measure something in the first place.
yeah, like you can stop at is this possible, yes or no, and you can be satisfied with the result without investigating how possible is, how probable is to happen.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
it's better to just don't evaluate or measure probability because it doesn't really matter if it's 30% or 40% sometimes. If it's possible, like it can discourage you. You're thinking, I want to do this. Is this possible? Yes. How probable is it?
Yeah.
20%. Oh, then I won't put in the effort because it's the probability is too low. So sometimes maybe it's better, it's enough to be possible and
Hmm.
stop about how probable in percentages is something is.
And so I think like my final words about my interpretation for this is um I mean, I guess if it seems like if I'm hopeful, it seems if I have the ability to be hopeful, um like possibility or an opportunity to do so has to also be, existing
Exist.
simultaneously
Yes.
too. Yeah.
it has to exist, or you have to create it if it's possible. It's not always possible, but
Yeah.
yeah, it has to exist, the possibility.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Well, thank you, Radu, for being the guest of the 43rd episode of the Journey of Growth podcast. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Once again, if you would like to be a guest, you can reach out to me on Instagram. So you can send me a direct message. And the overall the overall intention for the show is to grow by engaging in a new experience, an unknown experience. You know, even though this is the 43rd episode, this is still an unknown experience because this is the first time I've done a show with Radu. So this is unknown. And I think I can assess at this point, which the show's been on for about an hour and 30 minutes, I have grown through interacting with him and through listening and also expressing myself. I have grown in this experience. And so the hopefully if a person chooses to do the same as Radu, they can hopefully grow as well. Um, Radu, what would your parting words be?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I really enjoyed my time in this hour and 40 minutes. I just looked at the clock, so it's 1 hour and 40 minutes. I hope somebody can leave with something useful from our discussions. I know I will. So yeah, thanks again for the invitation, Kita, and it was really nice to have these conversations.
Yes, I enjoyed having a conversation with you as well. And if you're in Romania, I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Here in California, it's just after noon. So I hope
Same
everyone.
time difference, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Flat,
that's why we had.
flat earthers are in disbelief right now. 8 hours.
Oh, what time is it there?
It's 10:40, 10:40 p.m.
Wow.
Almost 11 p.m.
Okay. Wow. Well, yes. So I hope everyone will enjoy the rest of the day. I appreciate you all. Good night.
Good night.